Good evening. Welcome back to the man cave. It's Thursday night once again. I didn't think about tonight being Halloween. I think we'll probably have a pretty thin crowd tonight. But, Brother Jeff, have you had trick or treaters showing up at your place?
Yeah, we just closed up shop at 8 o'clock. It was
Yeah.
starting to get thin, so we closed it up. Got ready for the podcast.
Uh, Tanya, we haven't had any, have we?
No,
No, that'll be okay because we'll have leftovers.
we got a lot of leftovers, dude.
That's okay.
I'm
So,
always
yeah,
optimistic every year. I'm like, this will be the year, and we hand out full size candy. So,
So do
like,
yeah,
we.
why
right.
can't you just come by here?
They have just one block up. They have treats in the streets that runs from like 4 to 6 p.m. where all the businesses cater to the trick or treaters, and that brings a big crowd. But they don't come down this way. So let me get back over to the comments page here for a minute. Let's see, Boder, Brian, Andy, Ryan, Anthony. Good to see y'all here. But like I said, I don't expect much of a group tonight, but I'm ready for my Thursday night drink. So I'm going to crack once again into this monster bottle of Eagle Rare because I haven't had any in a while. It's been a while since I poured an Eagle Rare, but
Oh, Russ, let me tell you, the first year I lived here, it was Halloween night, and it got dusky. And from up the street, I could hear hordes of children. And I was like, oh, I was so stoked. And not a daggum one of them came down this way. So it's been kind of hard to get them there.
so Jeff's having a drink with us tonight.
Yep,
Excellent. You having the Eagle Rare also,
absolutely.
Tanya? What you got going on?
Well, John, I have some coffee, and
Some
I have a
coffee.
special surprise for everybody.
Uh-oh. What's she got going on? Oh boy. Oh, the Pikachu hat. It's awesome. Awesome. She wore that to
This is
work today.
proof that money can buy happiness.
Yep. So cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Cheers.
Nice. Mm. It's still as good as I remember it.
Well, it's
So
still good, just not quite as good as Heaven Hill.
yeah, Jeff and I have become Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond fans because it's easy to get and I like it better than Eagle Rare. So I'm no longer chasing the Eagle Rare. So that's awesome. All right. Let me see here. We'll get kicked off here in just a minute. Tanya, we'll bring you back here a little bit later on. I appreciate everybody last week that decided to make a contribution. And once again, I'll put this up here. I'm letting anybody that's interested in contributing a couple dollars to pay for the cost of bringing this live stream live every week. That's my PayPal and my Venmo account information. And also, if there's any left over, I will use it towards things that we will discuss and review and cook here for use on the live stream. So, once again, I had several people contribute last week, and I do certainly appreciate that. So, I'll run this along a ticker on the bottom of the screen a little bit later on. Jeff, have you had a good week cooking this week?
No.
Mm-mm.
Now the only thing I've done is meals for the pooches. I've been It's been one of those weeks of run, 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 run. You got to remember, I just came back from the mountains.
Yeah.
Then I had to play
Did
catch
they
up.
did your place did they get damaged from the Helene
No,
up
no,
where your place is up there?
no. They were far
Nope.
enough west.
Okay. Brian, I'll have to get with you on that. Send me a PM. and I'll give you some information. Somebody else asked about that last week. I can give you my address if you like. Uh, but yeah, Tanya, the school Tanya teaches at's up there, kind of in the middle of all that mess up here in Western North Carolina, and the school was closed for 2 weeks because of it. But it's things are. Well, I'm not going to say things are getting back to normal because it's going to take years for things to get back to normal here in
Yeah,
Western.
for some of those towns. That
Yeah,
man,
so
I looked at some of that devastation and I went, holy.
it's crazy. Whole towns were washed away.
Yeah, and I mean,
Some of
you
these,
guys didn't get the wind. You didn't really get the wind from the hurricane. You just got all that rain on top of all the rain
well,
that you just got, and you
we
couldn't
did get a
handle it.
good bit of wind. We did get around here where I live. I'm east of the mountains by about 50 miles of where all the damage was, but we had winds here that peaked out 60 miles an hour. We had a lot of trees down. We had a lot of trees down, and
Because the
yeah,
ground
but
was so wet.
it was the flooding up in the mountains that did all the damage because there was this call it a perfect storm for the lack of a better term, but two fronts came together right across the Blue Ridge Mountains west of
Mhm.
here, and it dumped 30 inches of rain there in less than 24 hours, and there's just no way to you can't handle that.
Nope.
So we'll they'll be recovering up there for years. So yeah, Randall, I'll get with you on that. Thanks. So you didn't have a good week cooking,
Not really. I just cooked for the pooch on the Huntsman. Speaking of which,
right?
how are you liking that thing?
So far, so good. Let me. I forgot to bring my. I forgot to kick off my screen share of my photos that I wanted to show up here tonight. So let me get that up here, and we'll talk about that stuff here in just a minute. The Huntsman, I did some cooking on it. I cooked on it about every day this week, uh, getting a feel for it, and I'm liking it. I'm liking a lot of things about it because my background before I got into Kamados was with Weber kettle, and I've always been real comfortable cooking on something that's the size of a Weber kettle, and it's got the same size dimensions and it's bigger in the base. The charcoal grate on the Huntsman's the same 22-inch diameter that the cooking grate is. When you've got a Weber 22-inch kettle, because of the conical shape of the bowl, your charcoal grate now at the bottom is only 18 inches on the 22-inch kettle, and I think it's 18 inches, but it's slightly smaller, which is not a big deal. But I'm really liking the multi-zone possibilities that are coming together on the Huntsman. And what I want to do, in fact, today I went ahead and put in an order for what they call the next level accessory kit, which is their heat deflector stones and the rings to set up the two half moons down at the lower level. I went ahead and put in an order for that. So whenever those arrive in Athens, I should be getting one shortly thereafter. That's probably gonna, well, from what I can see, that's probably going to give me just about everything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the current setup. The only thing I don't like about what I've got in front of me today is my cooking grate's a little farther away from the charcoal than I'd like it to be for searing. I cooked some pork chops on it yesterday and seared them, and they cooked fine. It just took me a little longer, and I don't think I didn't get the grates hot enough to put sear marks really on the meat, and I ultimately didn't put enough charcoal in there to make it happen because I tried to get them that hot. I used a full one of the Weber full size chimneys, one chimney full of charcoal on one half of the grill, but I kind of banked it and piled it up a little bit where it was 3 or 4 inches deep in charcoal, but I still couldn't get that grate quite as hot as I wanted it. But with this upgrade accessory kit that's coming, I'm going to be able to get the charcoal a lot closer to the grate, and I'm going to be able to do all that without any trouble. But I'm liking it. I like the controls. I like the automation functions that it has. I don't really think I've come across any part of it to this point that I'm unhappy with. I've got a couple of recommendations for software enhancements in the future, but they're not problems. You know, they're not something that
improvements.
I think, yeah,
additional improvements.
Right, and I haven't so far. I haven't really seen anything with the grill itself that I think needs an improvement. You've got way more cooking experience on that thing than I do. What do you think?
I love it. I'll tell you that right now. I love it. Randall just put up, do you like it better than the Kamado Joe? Yes and no. Okay. You can't, as John's going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, you really can't put them together. It's apples and oranges. It doesn't have the thermal mass that a Kamado has, but that thing is solid. It holds temperature solid. I did 10-hour cook, 225. I didn't touch it, and I still had plenty of lump left, and I didn't put a whole bunch of lump in it. I mean, I started off with a small layer, a small lump on half side, and then I used one chimney and lit the chimney on top of the unlit coals and spread it all out. And I say she went 225 for 9.5, 10 hours with absolutely no issues.
I'm with Jeff. I can't really. It's not something I want to compare to the Kamado Joe because I think it has some advantages. It has some advantages over the Kamado
and
Joe.
Disadvantages.
Another big advantage I think this thing has is if you wanted to pick it up and take it somewhere with you,
yep.
You don't. It's this grill. I'm trying to remember what the weight spec is on the Classic.
178 pounds. Well, no, the Huntsman's 178 pounds.
Yeah.
The Classic is 257.
I don't remember. But this thing would be easier to put on the back of a truck and carry somewhere than a Kamado, and you don't have to worry about the fragility. There's nothing fragile whatsoever about this grill. If you were here last week when I showed you the pictures, and I published a video on it, you can go back and look at this thing's going to be a beast. And yeah, Tar Heel, it's not. If you're using the controller in it, it does a pretty good job. And if you're using the built-in controller, I've not had any problems with overshooting. And also, I've played with it a lot. And that being the case, you know how when you open, like if you've got something like the Acorn or some of these other metal lightweight Kamados or something like the Kamado Joe Kettle Joe, when you open the lid, it's stoking that fire. And it causes overshoots. This one I haven't had that problem with, but I have also been using briquettes. I haven't been using lump charcoal in it. I will mostly probably use briquettes in this grill.
And that's where you and I differ.
Yeah. There may be some instances. It depends on what I'm cooking as to whether or not I'm going to use lump or briquettes. But I like using briquettes in a grill like this.
Mom is in the house.
Hey, Mom. Yeah. So
now, as far as advantages go, too, I think one of the big advantages of the Huntsman over the Kamado is that Kamado Joe is that big door on the front of that thing that you can load more smoking wood, load more lump or charcoal.
Well,
move your
yeah,
fire around if you need to, bank it to one side. You don't have to open up that dome and take everything
yeah.
out to do it.
Randall, there's a specific reason that lump works better in the Kamado than uh, these grills are not the same. They're different, and the differences you have with the Huntsman, you can use a lump in here. Don't let me try to convince you for a second that you can't. I just choose to use briquettes when I'm trying to have an even heating surface. If I'm going to make half of that grill for searing, or even a quarter of it for searing, I would prefer to use briquettes because I'm going to get a more even heat because all of my fuel pieces are consistent in shape and size. Uh, but if you want to run lump in it, you certainly can, and it will do fine. When I did my burn in on it, my seasoning, I used lump, and it all went fine. But it's the Kamado, the shape of the Kamado Joe does not lend itself well to using briquettes because of the way the ash chokes up at the bottom. It can hamper your airflow if you're not using a controller. And if you do like I do and put a fireboard on there, it doesn't matter what you use. It's going to get
Yep.
air.
Yep.
You're not going to choke it up. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. And I'm probably going to, at some point, I'm not sure when, after I've got some more miles on this thing, I'm going to invite Jeremiah Strickland to come back on with us to talk more about it. But I'm probably going to wait until after some of the accessories that they have coming out for this grill come on out. So that's all I want to talk about the Huntsman tonight. Some of the stuff I've cooked this week that we're going to look at in these pictures were done on the Huntsman. So let me start with some of these. One of the first things I wanted to talk about, and I posted about this last week on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, is this basic marinade that I've been using here for the last 6 months or so. These are the three primary ingredients: bourbon, Dale's seasoning, and molasses. I'm finding uh, this to be a fantastic marinade base. And what I do to start this marinade is I'll use a half a cup of bourbon, a half a cup of Dale's, and I'll use about a quarter of a cup of molasses. And I'll mix that up, and that becomes, I'll whisk that together until the molasses gets worked into that and it becomes an even consistency. And to that, based on whatever I might cook, I might add some different seasonings to it. I might add granulated garlic to it. I might add granulated onion. I might add cinnamon, or I might add cayenne pepper or black pepper. You can go a lot of different directions with this base, but this is becoming one of my favorite ways to start a marinade. And I've got a couple of things next here that I've done with it, like these two bone-in pork chops I did with this, and I make that marinade and I just toss them in vacuum seal bags and put them in the refrigerator. And with this marinade, I like to get at least 8 hours if I can. 4 would be a bare minimum. 8's good, and 12 to 24 is even better. So you don't you won't over marinate this if you're using that ratio of the ingredients that we have, because there's the Dale's. I use the low sodium version of Dale's simply because it's still got a lot of salt in it. But I won't say low sodium, it's lower sodium. I find the Dale's regular strength to be way too salty for about everything I use it for. So I've quit buying it and I just buy the reduced sodium version. So I put that in the refrigerator, and when these come out, I don't bother and pat them dry. I just leave that on there because that sugar from that molasses is going to be useful when I'm jarring this guy up. And I cook these. These particular chops were cooked on my gas grill. I didn't cook them on the Kamado even. And the reason you're seeing some flame there is because I like to give them a little flambe. I like to drizzle a little bit of whiskey on there. And plus it makes for a good photograph opportunity when you got a flame visible. Never turned down a good photo op. But these, and here's another set that I did this week. with the same marinade. These are pork loin chops. I bought a whole pork loin last week and sliced them down into about 1 inch thick chops, and I marinated these, and I cooked these guys on the Huntsman, and they came out extremely well. I was very happy with everything about how those guys came out. And with these, when I was cooking, when I do pork, I add a little bit of cinnamon to that. I put a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of black pepper, and a little bit of ground cinnamon in that, and it's beautiful. It makes an amazing flavor profile for this stuff and a marinade. If you guys remember back, way on back, I've done a lot of video content where I've marinated pork with cinnamon and molasses brine, and this is what I want to call an easy version of that. It's just much easier to do it this way, and that's what those chops look like. These chops are going to work with me over the weekend for dinner, so I don't have a report on how those actually taste, but the previous ones off the gas grill were delicious. That was a meal for Tanya and I one night a while back. I like to do the same thing with chicken. I know these don't look like chicken breasts, but it's because I pounded them out. I did a big chicken breast cook recently on the griddle, and I took that marinade and I put about 2 tablespoons maybe in a bag with the chicken breast, and I vacuum sealed that bag, and then I took my meat mallet and I just pounded those guys out to where they're kind of an even thickness all the way across. I guess maybe I'm too lazy to butterfly. I just like to pound them out, and I just want, when I'm cooking on the griddle, I like for these guys to be a fairly even thickness all the way across. And when I've got those guys pounded out, these are big chicken breasts. They're really large, and with them pounded out like that, I can fit 12 of them on my Traeger griddle. So I cook those until they have a nice caramelization and sear, like you see in this picture here. And I pull them off when they start temping at about 150. I don't let them go further than that. And generally, I'll cut these in half because one of these is definitely enough for two people. And I vacuum seal those. And I was doing this particular cook. Tanya's family had one of Tanya's uncles had knee surgery, and he was doing some recovery time with Tanya's parents. And I did some cooking. I did some pork chops and some chicken breasts and something else. I don't remember what the third thing I did was, and gave them stuff packaged up in bags ready to go where Tanya's mom could have that for meals. And one of the interesting things about this chicken, I don't know if my mom's still in here or not. My mom loves this chicken, and Tanya's mom and dad both said it was the best chicken they've ever had. So we'll ask Tanya about that when we get her back in here. But this marinade is phenomenal on chicken. And once again, go 12 to 24 hours on that, with a minimum of 4. I wouldn't go longer than any less than 4 if you can get by with it. And if you want to baste it with your leftovers during the cook, you can do that too. But if you're basting it with anything you've marinated in, actually, I wouldn't recommend basting with what you marinated in. I would hold some back separate from the marinade if you want to baste with it. But you can definitely baste with that. But what you marinated in, toss that out. Don't baste with that. That's bad advice. So, because you don't know that that'll get cooked out. So that marinade is Jeff, have you ever tried making anything with the Dales?
No, I haven't seen the Dales down here. I'm going to have to look because I have not seen that Dales at all.
Look
That's
for
not
it.
to say it's not there.
You should be able to find it. It's you'll find it where the steak sauces and barbecue sauces are. And
I'm going to look it up right now.
It's just called Dale's Seasoning. And at my grocery stores here, it's always right near where the A1 steak sauce is. And yeah, mom's said that she really likes that chicken. And in fact, I talked to mom earlier this week. I'm going to get another pack of chicken breasts and cook all of them for her so she can have those in her freezer. She loved that chicken as well. So, and
We got
start
the regular seasoning for steak, and then the reduced sodium blend.
get the reduced sodium one, and if you don't like it for some reason, try the other one. And also, the reduced sodium one is a different consistency than the full sodium one. The full sodium Dales is a really runny, like a watery liquid. The reduced sodium for some reason has more of a consistency of steak sauce. It's thicker, and I don't know why that is, but it just is. But try it; it's a really good marinade. And since I'm cutting it with bourbon and molasses, that's cutting the salt level down even further. So if you're cutting it with bourbon and molasses, you probably can get away with the full sodium, but I'm not having any trouble there at all with that low sodium version. Uh, let's see what the next thing I was going to show you this week is I actually made video of this and I haven't processed it yet on the Lone Star Grill's pellet smoker. I fired that guy up and I made some Candi Bacon. And I found a pack of that Wright's brand, those 2-pound packs of the Wright's thick cut bacon. And honestly, I don't recommend using thick cut bacon for this, but it works. So I got 5 big strips of that out on one of my quarter sheet pans. They actually, I think Chicago Metallic calls this a jelly roll pan. And they don't call it a quarter sheet, but it's got that rack on it where I can cook it up and let the bacon render without it actually cooking in its own juices. Because I don't want this to do that, and you'll see why. I sprinkled on some barbecue rub on top of that bacon, and then brown sugar, just a nice little level layer of brown sugar on top of that. And then one of my favorite ingredients to drizzle on there. You can use honey. This Mike's Hot Honey is really good on this, or you can use maple syrup. You just some or agave nectar or whatever you want, any kind of liquid sweetener you want to drizzle across the top of that. And I also put some thinly sliced jalapeno peppers on there, and I toss these in the smoke on the Lone Star Grill. Uh, uh, 300 to 325, probably for about 30 minutes until that bacon cooks fully. And a lot of people like to do this in 2 stages. They like to you can put the seasoning and the brown sugar and the honey on both sides of the bacon and cook part of it, then flip it and then do it again on the other side. I just did this on the top, and this stuff comes out amazing. This bacon is fairly crisp. I'm not going to call it crispy at this point. You can cook it to whatever consistency you like, but this has a lot of interesting uses. First of all, it's a good party snack. You can cut those in half and serve them, at a tailgate party or a game day. Another thing you can do with this is you can crumble it and serve it as a garnish on it. You could put it on a salad. Jeff, what else could you put this kind of bacon on top of? You could actually
Baked
crumble
potato.
Put it in what?
Baked potato.
A baked potato. Yep. That'd be interesting. The sweetness would be an interesting thing with a baked potato, maybe, but the jalapeno peppers are fully optional. You can do whatever you want. I've done this and I've drizzled chocolate on it when it's done. I'll melt some chocolate and drizzle it across the top of it. But that salty sweetness, everybody by this time knows what's going on when you get that salt and the sweet together like this. It's really an amazing flavor. So
Yep.
that's the last thing that I've done any video content on the Lone Star. I've cooked a couple of more pork butts on it because I had to replace the pulled pork that I lost when our power was down for the storm. I lost the individually packaged stuff that I had in my front freezer here. And I think I probably had 25 servings of it I tossed out. So I got two more pork butts and cooked those out. But I wanted to talk for a moment about soy sauce. Jeff, do you use much soy sauce?
Yeah, when I'm doing my stir fries.
Well, these soy sauces, the one on the left in the tall bottle is one that I've been buying for a while. It's called Kishibori, and that's spelled Kishibori. And you can find this on Amazon. And in fact, both of these came from Amazon. But this Kishibori is a very good soy sauce. I think, one of the things I normally would recommend is I recommend that as a finishing sauce rather than a cooking sauce. But the price on this one's not so high that I don't think I'll cook with it. I think I'm probably going to start cooking with the Kishibori. But when I was looking at the Kishibori the last time, I noticed this smaller bottle over here. It's called oh boy, Yamaroku, and I think that's Yamaroku. It's quite expensive. It's this 5-ounce bottle I think was $26 or $27, but the next size up bottle is a real bargain compared to what I paid for this. But I wanted to buy the less expensive bottle until I determined if it was something I thought was worth the extra money. And I haven't gotten with Tanya yet to let her taste this, but this stuff is amazing. And that will only be a finishing sauce. This would be something you would use as a dip or a drizzle only. I think I was telling Tanya I need to find myself a little small bottle that I can use to take this when we go out for sushi so I can take my own soy sauce with me. That Yamaroku soy sauce is that good. But if you're interested in trying something better than the typical grocery store variety soy sauces, have a look at these because I really think if you like soy sauce, you're definitely going to be amazed at the difference in flavor and aroma from these soy sauces compared to your Kikkoman or whatever it is you normally buy in the grocery store. There's a day and night difference, and it's amazing. These are both craft brewed soy sauces, and the what got me started on the Kishibori was I saw it used on a TV show that I used to watch, and I went and looked it up when the chef on the show was talking about it. And this is made in these 100-year-old oak vats in just somewhere in southern Japan. And it's a really cool process. There's video on YouTube of how that stuff is made, and it's really amazing. So if you get an opportunity and if you like soy sauce, give that stuff a try. I think you'll be amazed with it. So I actually used a little bit of it. One of these recent pork loin pork chops that I grilled, I decided to dice one of them up last week, and I made a little bit of fried rice for Tanya and myself for dinner one night, and it was really good. Tanya liked it. My fried rice cooking skills aren't that great. I'm still working on perfecting that technique on the grill. I'm probably going to go back to the wok. I think this is easier to do in the wok. So I haven't gotten the griddle technique perfected for fried rice, and it's just because I haven't done it enough. But I can do this in the wok, and I can also get my wok a lot hotter than I can get the griddle. So the next thing that's happened to me recently was I finally fell victim to broken heat deflector. Jeff, how often do we see this?
I don't see it often at all. I mean, I've only
Well,
broke one in the whole time I've had, all my Kamados.
this is the second one I've broken. But this one, this is the first. No, this is the third one I've broken. But guys, I've been cooking on Kamado Joe for north of 10 years now, and the previous two that I broke, one of them I dropped it. The other one I banged against one of my deck chairs when I was walking across the deck with it. But this is the first one that I've had break on its own in the grill, and this one wasn't broken. It broke when I tried to pick it up and remove it from the grill. So that's the first time I've had that happen. But I take pretty good care of my heat deflectors, and I think that goes a long way into making these things last a long time. I think it's important to keep them fairly clean, and by clean, I don't mean clean like you see in that picture. I mean clean like when it gets a bunch of crud on it, take a plastic putty knife or something and scrape the bulk of it off where it's just smooth, because that buildup on there causes these things to heat unevenly, and uneven heating is probably one of the biggest causes I see of broken stones. That's going to be my guess, but that's where that landed. I just tossed that picture in there because I'm not the guy that's going to go post, "Is this normal?" I'm not going to cry
come
about
on,
it.
John.
Yeah. I'm not going to cry about my broken heat deflector because I'm fully aware that a heat deflector is a consumable accessory on a grill. They're not designed to last forever. They won't last you forever. If you cook on Kamados long enough, you're going to have to replace your heat deflectors. And so don't think for a minute that those things are going to last indefinitely, because they don't. This is one of the things I wanted to show. I notice this sometimes. This is a cross-section view of that break. A lot of the ones that I see break have that discoloration that gets inside the stone, and I don't know exactly what that is or how that happens, unless the stones become porous and it's gotten stuff in there. But that's probably contributing to the break somehow or another. I don't have any real theory on what causes that.
John, it would be interesting for you to take that stone and break it, say, 3 inches over from where it is, and see if you have any markings.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good idea, but I've already disposed of that. It's already gone. I tossed it in the garbage can, and I need. I've been holding off. I need another one, but I only need one. But you have to buy two, and because
Got
I
to
have
spare.
to buy because I have to buy two, I may wait till I break another one, because I've got two sets of these, because I've got two grills. I've got three half moons now instead of four, so I may not buy another one until I break another stone. This week's cook that I did, it's that time of year again, guys. Thanksgiving's coming. We're a month away. We're 4 weeks away from Thanksgiving. Probably right on the money right now. Don't cook turkeys, guys. Everybody hates turkey. Nobody likes turkey. Turkey's too much work. And no matter how much work you put into it, no matter how good that turkey is when you're done with it, it's still turkey. If you want to cook turkey, if you want to cook turkey, give your family the one piece of the turkey that they all like. Cook these big drumsticks. I love these things. I love cooking these. And Tanya and I were at Publix uh, Monday night, and I said, I want to look and see if they've got any of those, and they did. So I bought four of them, and they're not real cheap. And each one of these aren't as big as some of the ones I've seen. Each one of these weighs just uh, crumbs over a pound, and so that makes them about $5 or $6 a piece based on what I paid for these. But these are fantastic. They're fun to cook. They're easy to cook. They're quick. But this one, these festival style turkey legs, are prepared differently than you might realize. They're not just smoked, seasoned and smoked. I put two of these each in a vacuum seal bag, but this is a curing brine. The curing brine that I use for these is 2 cups, and I made video of this cook, and I haven't edited it yet, but I made a post. There will be a post coming up on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page sometime tomorrow that's got all the details and quantities on this cook. But my curing brine was 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of this Prague powder #1 pink curing salt, and I used a 1/4 cup of molasses. And you can do this without the curing salt if you like, but you're not going to, the result's totally different. That curing salt is bringing something to this turkey leg that you can't get any other way. So if you don't want to use the curing salt, leave it out. But before you decide not to do it, I would hope that if you want to try this, I would hope you try it with the curing salt. So you make that brine, and I end up with roughly 2 cups of the brine. So I put about a cup in each of these bags with these 2 turkey legs, and I put them in my vacuum sealer, and I tossed them in the refrigerator. They got into my refrigerator about 9 o'clock Monday night. And at about 9 o'clock Monday morning, I went out and I fired up the Huntsman. And I want to run at 300 degrees here. And one of the things I'm still learning about the Huntsman is how much charcoal do I need to bring this thing up and hold it at specific temperatures. I'm still getting a feel for that because it does take more charcoal than the Weber kettle did to get it to the same temperatures that I was getting the kettle to. So what I wanted to do here was have some unlit charcoal over here. And then I took my small chimney and got some briquettes lit up that I was just going to dump on top of this other stuff here and get it going. So I got it up to 300. I just programmed the Venom controller on the Huntsman to bring it to 300. And it got there just fine, no problem. And I let it sit at 300 for about 30 minutes before I put these on. So I took these guys out of the brine, and on these, I did towel dry them with paper towels as best I could before they went on. So I stuck them on the grill. I put the temperature probe in because I want to cook these guys up to about 180. These, I think that the turkey legs do best, between 175 and 185 internally. And that took about 90 minutes to get to here. And these things were amazing. I had one of them for lunch. It took, like I said, it took 90 minutes to get to that at 300 degrees. And after they were done, I put them on a tray, wrapped it in foil, and let them sit for about 20 minutes. And then I ate one of these for lunch. This would have been Tuesday, I suppose. And it was absolutely amazing. It was just really good. And it was so good, I decided I was going to have another one today. I vacuum sealed these guys and tossed them in the freezer. And today I decided I was going to have another one for lunch. So I took one of the vacuum seal bags out of the freezer. I got my sous vide bath running at 175, and I didn't wait to put the bag in the sous vide bath. I just put it in there. And once it got to 175, I let it stay in there for 30 minutes and pulled it out. And I really and honestly don't think that there was any quality loss whatsoever between having frozen that and reheated it via sous vide than they were the day I cooked them. They were that good. Jeff, have you ever cooked these?
Yes, I've done the Disney version.
Well, this is not far off from that. What
off.
did they do? What did they do differently? I know
it's a little longer brine, but I'd have to look at the recipe again. It's been a while since I've done it. I don't want to misspeak.
Have you done the recipe where does that recipe come from? Does Disney publish it, or is it
Yeah,
the Amazing
Disney.
Ribs one?
Disney publishes it.
I'll have to look at that one sometime. I'm not familiar with it, but one more comment on that brine. I tried a recipe some time ago by I can't remember if it was Michael Simon or Stephen Rachlin. I don't remember which one of those two guys it was, but they had a pork brine that used the pink curing salt, and I made it, and it was absolutely too salty based on their recipe. It was way too salty for me, and I never made it again to try to fix it. But I am thinking that this same cure that I used for those turkey legs, I want to try that with pork chops, and exactly like that, with that same amount of salt, molasses, and curing brine. I think I think it might make a really great pork chop if you let that pork chop marinate 12 to 24 hours in that same cure. You think that would be any good, Jeff?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I was looking to see if I could find that recipe. I thought I had it up in my stuff, but I'm not seeing it right now.
Right.
I'll get that to you.
So
I'll find it.
yeah, I didn't know if Disney published that recipe or not, but I know everybody talks about Disney turkey legs. But I think theirs are cured. I think theirs have a
Yeah.
cure. I don't know what their procedure is, and but I love these things. I've got two left. Tanya won't eat it. I don't know if my mom would eat that or not, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not going to give them away, or maybe I'll have to cook more. So let's see here. And once again, for those of you that have joined us since we started, I appreciate those of you that made contributions last week toward the cost of bringing the live stream live. So if anybody else is interested in that, I'm running the information here across the bottom of the screen. Let me bring Tanya back. Tanya, have we got some questions that I need to look at for me and Jeff?
Actually, no.
No? Have we got everything we needed to cover?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
So
awesome. Dennis commented on Wild Turkey 101. I had a glass of that last night.
Yeah.
So, Tanya, how was the pork chops?
Oh, I like the pork chops. I'm a big fan of that. I particularly like it when he dices them up and puts them into fried rice. I mean, that's to me just an absolute fantastic taste of that. But I enjoy it.
Cindy, I haven't done turkey thighs. I'll have to look and see if I can find some. Publix may have those. I may have seen some, but that's something I'd be willing to try. I would probably want to debone them.
That's what I would
see. One of the next things I want to play with is duck breast, because I have a good source for duck breast now, and I want to learn duck l'orange. I need to learn how to make that because that's one of my favorite things. So that may be coming up sometime soon. I might do that on the Traeger griddle. That might be a griddle cook. We'll see. All right. Turkey thighs will be great. So Russ says he's broken 2 of those things. They're not hard to break, but I think it's a little bit of a cringe because it's a $69 replacement to buy 2 more of them. But like I said, I'm probably not going to buy another pair until I break another one. I can get by with 3. I'm not doing a whole lot of indirect cooking on my Kamado Joes at the moment. I'm using the Kamado Joes for direct cooking. And now that I've got this Huntsman, I've promised myself I'm going to make it my primary grill at least until the spring. So I can give it a fair shake and give it a good workout. I'm still going to be using the Lone Star, but I'm going to do some low and slow on the Huntsman. I'm probably going to try to. Jeff, have you cooked the butt on yours yet?
Yeah. Cook the butt. I tell you what, I like those grates for chicken.
Yeah.
The skin when you you spatchcock your chicken and throw it skin side down on that huge stainless steel. It's almost like throwing it on a griddle for all practical
Right.
purposes. Skin comes out really nice and crispy.
Put Brian's post up there, Tanya. I
Okay.
haven't, but Stephen Hickey's got that. Jeff, do you have that?
No.
I looked at it, and it will work in the Huntsman. Stephen, like I said, Stephen Hickey's got it. The only issue with that is the risers. If you've got your pit probe for the Huntsman coming in through the back above the hinge, you need to relocate it to the side underneath the grate if you want to use that feature. Because I think Steven said that it gets in the way of that riser.
Yep.
You can either do that or you can turn the rig where it's off center just a little bit. But if you're OCD
Which,
like I am,
that's what I was
you
going to
want it in there
say.
straight.
Except if you're OCD, and then it's going to drive you
Yeah.
nuts.
So you need to reposition the ambient probe. But yeah, that I haven't tried it, Brian, but I know Stephen Hickey's got it, and he's done a lot of cooking with it. I don't think he's complaining about it. Jeff, have you
No.
heard? He
No,
he bought that. He bought that just until he can get the accessory from Spider Grills that they're it's coming out sometime this month. They
Yep,
said they would
November,
be
mid
receiving it.
November.
Yeah, so I'm expecting I'll see it. I'm hoping I'll see it before Christmas. That's
I
my
would think you
target.
would.
But I ordered it today. I went ahead and got one on order, so it's coming. They've got a rotisserie coming as well, and I'm not I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy that one or not. We'll see. I'm struggling with it because I don't like rotisserie cooking on the Kamado. I don't know if this one. I don't know if I would like rotisserie cooking here better or worse than the Kamado. So it might be something I'll play with or not. Hi Levi, glad you can make it with us. But I don't know. The Jeff, is the rotisserie coming in the same time the grill grate system's coming?
Supposedly,
Yeah.
all those are supposed to be coming in about the same time. But I'm like you. I don't use the rotisserie that much. For chicken, I just as soon spatchcock it. It's less cleanup. The only thing that I like for the rotisserie is I like my those pork roasts that we get, those bone-in pork roasts,
Yeah, from
and
Costco.
the prime rib. I like doing that. But bad thing about the prime rib is when you do those, the majority of the ones that you get, the bone is separated from the rib, and then it's strung back together, and if you happen to burn the strings,
I might go to
you're
Costco. I might go down to Costco and stand outside the door and see if I can find somebody to go in and get me one of those roasts. I'm not going to buy a membership to Costco again, but that's the only place I can buy that cut of meat. I've never seen it anywhere else.
That's the one thing I do miss. I wish we had a Costco that was closer.
It takes us an hour to get to that Costco. It's not that bad of a drive, but I don't know. I think I can get a
driving an
membership
hour's a
for.
pain. Unless you do
And
your stock up, get all your toilet paper, your paper towel, all those bulk
well,
items, and then it pays for
we do
itself.
all that from Sam's Club, and
Yeah, well,
but then again, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll just renew the Costco membership. But I found out that when we have a Costco membership, we're only going 3 or 4 times a year, and it's not really worth it. We're not really saving enough to make it worth the membership. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
We
fun to
got
look through it and stuff.
we got one of the problems I had is we got roped into the executive gold membership. One day when we were in the store, they talked us into upgrading, and I figured out quickly that there was no way I was going to be spending enough money at Costco to make that back. Tar Heel, we go to the one in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah,
It's
that's
right off
the closest one.
It's about 15 miles down Interstate 77 from Statesville, so it's not it's 40 miles for us to get to 77. It's about 55 miles, I guess. We have to shoot over to Statesville and drop down Highway 70 or Interstate 77 into Mooresville to get to that one. But when I got roped into that gold membership, if I want to renew at the lower level, I have to go to the club to do it. They won't let me do that online, and I've just not been back. I may go back down there, and Tanya, we'll talk about that. Well,
the other thing that makes it more difficult is my commute. Usually after an hour and 20 on the road, I really want to get home. I don't really want to
go back out.
Yeah. Well, it's not. You can take your mom down there on the weekends, though.
Yeah, I know.
There's other things that they have at Costco that I like that I can't get anywhere else. So I don't know. It may be worth it to go ahead and do that. So I'll look at it. I'm just saving my money for another toy.
Yeah, we hit the chef store fairly frequently. We really
They don't have this cut. They've got some good cuts of meat there. That's where I bought my most recent meat haul. I bought some pork butts from them. I bought the whole pork loin from them. And so far,
Brine,
so good.
I'm just going to be honest with you. I have gotten so picky about hot dogs that I very rarely eat them out because I want the special man cave slop dogs. See, this is what happens. This is a very real problem, y'all. This is something nobody discusses, and we should have some pretty frank discussions around this, okay? Think about what you really enjoy eating out, okay? So, when I was a kid, or, when I was out there, I enjoyed eating out like steak. Well, I don't want to eat steak out anymore because I get steak better at home. I don't want to eat hot dogs out anymore because I get hot dogs better at home. There's a problem here is I get better food at home. And I would rather eat the food
well, it's cheaper.
Not all the time.
Well, now I will tell you, if you guys come across a Polo Campero anywhere in that neighborhood, you need to give them a try.
What is it?
Polo Campero. It's fried chicken.
Okay, chicken. So, no.
She won't eat it.
Oh.
John can help himself, but no, I don't eat chicken.
Not even chicken breast?
No.
Boneless chicken breast?
If it was, no, I eat no chicken at all. I like chickens. Okay, I'll take that back. I do eat boneless chicken. Eggs.
I did a second take the first time she told me that too.
Yeah.
Boneless chicken.
I like eggs, but I don't like to eat chickens. So
Anthony, there's a lot of stuff you can. There's a lot of stuff you can do with pork belly. The pork belly. My best advice is season it however you want to season it. Put it on your smoker, 250 degrees, and put a thermometer in it. And when it gets to 195, you're done. This is one of the few things that I think you can get away with cooking to a temperature on. Is pork belly. It's gonna be good at 195, and it's not gonna stall, so it doesn't take all day to cook that. So Jeff Levi's making cutting boards now.
Yeah.
Okay. Which did you make a end grain or just a regular?
Yeah, slot dogs. So the next time I make hot dogs, though, I'm going to be trying these. Tanya and I buy the Hebrew National brand hot dogs, and this U.S. Food Chef store has got these huge. Hebrew National all beef hot dogs. They're the large size ones. The ones that we normally buy in the grocery store are the bun length 6-pack. There's 6 in a pack, and each of those weighs 2 ounces a piece. I've figured out. The ones in the pack at U.S. Food Chef Store are 3.2 ounces a piece. They're a lot bigger hot dog. So, and there's a 5-pound pack of them. I think that's got 25 hot dogs in it, and it's $38 worth. So I'm gonna buy a pack of those next time I'm down there.
Speaking of cutting boards, John, how is your cutting board doing?
It's doing fine. I use it all the time. It stays. I can see it. It's underneath my prep table here right now. I just oiled all my boards again the other day, so that one got a fresh coat of the Booze Mystery Oil just this past week.
Yeah. And
That was a fun
Honorog,
little project.
dude, you have no idea what a picky eater I am. It's a lot of it.
You just
Tanya,
froze, Tanya.
Tanya's frozen. I'm not
Hey,
sure
I
what
think,
happened there. There
yeah, I
we
was
go.
gonna
I
say,
got
I
you
think
back.
our network went splat. So yeah,
Oh, you just froze again.
Yep. It's not our network because I don't think I'm having any problem.
No, you're fine.
holy cow.
I don't know what's going on up there. She's cabled to the router. It might be something going on her machine. We moved one of our mesh router nodes next to her computer up there where she can cable to it. So she's got a cabled connection. I don't know what's happening, but Tanya, I'll bring you back in a bit. But Tanya's hung there. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, it's probably something going on in the background on her computer that's got it. She's on her laptop. She's got a hot rod laptop though, so I'd be surprised if it's no telling what it might be, but it's not the network. I upgraded to fiber optic here this summer. It finally became available to me. There's a mom and pop company here in this podunk town that I'm living in that's run fiber optic everywhere, and I've got 1 gigabit service now, and it's pretty impressive. We didn't when we lost power and everything for the storm. I don't think that internet went down because I had internet as soon as my power came back on. But I've got great speed and great connectivity here now. Tanya,
Yeah.
are you with us?
Well, sort of and sort of not.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I'm not either because you kept locking up and then I would be here and like, okay, what's
Oh,
going
he was
on?
locking. I didn't see him lock up.
I think it
Well,
was
he was
just
locking
you.
up here. So
That's because
well,
you were
maybe,
locking up. Anyway,
maybe. Looking at
okay.
the code, the light is blue.
Yeah, well, Tanya is a picky eater. That's what Honorog was commenting on, and I've learned to work with a lot of things Tanya will and won't eat. I have to admit, uh, through Tanya's guidance, I have learned to make the best possible well done steaks that can be done. I've mastered the well done steak technique, and I've tried a lot of things. And guys, let me tell you, if you ever come across somebody that you need to cook well done steaks for, do not use sous vide. Sous vide is not the answer. Those steaks are dried out when they're done. They render too much. They would work if you could monitor the internal temperature of the meat with some sort of waterproof wireless probe while it's in the sous vide bath and get it out when the internal temperature hits 165 and not let it stay in there any longer, you'll be fine. But I was unsuccessful with sous vide. Tanya's steaks come out the same way. I use the same method for hers that I use for mine, which is a sear first and then finish over indirect heat. So,
Yeah, Russ,
yeah.
that happens here sometimes too.
Russ, I'm used to it. I don't have any complaints. It's taken me the better part of my entire existence with Tanya to learn, and I'm still learning. But when it comes to proteins, I know about everything she will eat. What she will eat's a short list, and I've experienced a lot of different methods of cooking all those things. We do a lot of pork loin. We do a lot of pork tenderloin. We do a lot of ground beef and steaks, and that's a majority of it. Besides bacon, we do the cured meats. She won't eat some of the cured meats that I do. Like she likes pastrami, but my pastrami is not something I can't produce a pastrami myself that she would like. She likes deli meat, thin sliced, uh, stuff like Black Forest ham. You don't normally buy pastrami, do you, Tanya?
I haven't in a long time. I would occasionally buy pastrami or corned beef, but I don't know. It just mm,
I can't slice pastrami thin enough, and she doesn't like it shredded or chunked. So, but I'm going to figure something else out. One of the things I'm thinking about today, Tanya, one of the things that I'm going to get going here quickly is I'm going to make some more pastrami. I'm probably going to make it from chuck or maybe from brisket. We'll see. But I want to do these something we talked about in the past, and I never got down and dirty and did it. I want to do those Reuben egg rolls with
mhm.
pastrami, Swiss cheese, and
That sounds
sauerkraut,
good.
and have a dip. Do a Thousand Island dip for it with a little bit spicier Thousand Island. I might use my man cave comeback sauce, which is a take. It's some sort of weird take on Thousand Island. I don't remember if I posted that recipe or not. Yeah, Cindy or Reuben. It's hard to beat a good Reuben. Yep.
No,
Cabeza. Is that head? What is cabeza? Tripe.
and
I know what lingua is,
yeah, and
and
tripe. Ooh,
I know what
that's
tripe is,
good.
but yeah, that Tanya's never gonna.
Yeah.
That's all stuff. That sounds like stuff that you'd get in a UK bodega.
No, I'm just not. And the other thing, and this is a big one. If it looked, if it looks like it used to look,
Mhm.
no. So, no, no.
Tanya loves bacon, and I about ruined bacon for her one time. So we don't talk
Yeah,
about that anymore.
yeah. We just don't. Y'all gotta understand. I was a vegetarian for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like, mm-mm, you know, and like I said, one time John and I used to go out and we would eat calamari, and it came in little rings and the stuff, and it was okay. And then we ate it like somewhere else, and it came out and it looked like little baby octopi, and I've never eaten it since. So, and what made it even worse is John took it and he started dancing it, and he's like, "Look, Tanya," and I'm like, "No."
Well,
And
it
I
he's
guess
depends
like,
I
on.
"This
can't
is
get
the
you to eat frog
problem." He
legs, huh?
says, "If it looks like it used to, you don't want it." And I'm like,
It
"Shit."
was a fried calamari appetizer at some Italian restaurant that we would get, and one usually they were rings that were about as big around as a
Mhm.
$half, and they were deep fried, and I'm surprised she liked those because those even deep fried have a texture that I wouldn't have think Tanya would have liked. But one day we got some and it had the little ends on it with the little tentacles, and that was the last time. That was the last time we had that.
John ate
So
all of it.
frog legs are out of the question, right, Tanya?
Yeah, I don't want frog legs.
Mm. How
I
about
don't want.
rattlesnake?
No, I did try it one time, but no, and that was
I've
on
Gator?
never
pizza.
I've never had
Gator?
rattlesnake.
No,
Gator's good.
no
Taste
turtles.
Possum?
tastes just like chicken.
Nope. No deer. No
If you want
squirrel.
possum, let me know, and I'll trap one of the ones that comes and eats our stray
Um,
cat's cat food at
no
night.
raccoon. No chicken.
How about bison?
Select parts of Select parts
We-
of cow. Select.
She's had bison before and didn't complain about
Yeah, I
that.
do like bison. No, I
Bison's
will
very
try
good.
down some
Elk.
bison. Sign me up for that.
Tanya
And
bought the
I
only bison I've
absolutely,
ever eaten.
there's some pork that I like, but again, I'm just really, I'm just
I
really,
remember
yeah.
I remember cooking the bison when you Tanya, you remember that first gas grill I bought for your house before I lived here?
Yeah.
The first cook we did on that gas grill was those bison ribeyes that you bought at Whole Foods.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love bison.
They were pretty good. They were not bad at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really picky. I'm picky about texture. And the other thing, and this is no, Anthony, I don't eat lamb either. The other thing that's really disappointing is I like small, tiny, minuscule pieces of meat. I don't like big chunks of meat. John is a big chunk guy. He'll have a chunk like a size of a Rubik's cube is a perfect chunk size for John.
No, it's not that big.
And
Not
Brine,
that big. I've exaggerated a tad bit, but I like smaller pieces of meat.
I'm going to say there's no comparing the PK to the Huntsman.
Nope, they're not similar in any way, other than their charcoal grills.
Yep.
I don't see any comparison there either.
I believe raccoons are magical creatures.
I've never eaten raccoon, but there's a family of them that live somewhere in my neighborhood because my stray cat that I feed out here
Rusty.
on the man cave deck at night, I put food out for Rusty in the morning, and he's usually out there when I put the food out. But if there's any food left over at night, raccoons and possums come and get it. And I know they're there because I've got a Ring security camera, floodlight camera out there, and they trip my camera all night long. I can't leave the alarm on that one because there's a lot of wildlife that comes looking for
Keep
that
you up
food.
all night, John?
Whatever the cat doesn't eat is taken care of by raccoons and possums. And we had a skunk. I've had a skunk once, and I had a fox once. But there's a family of raccoons close by somewhere. I don't know where they live. There's a hollow tree somewhere in the neighborhood that's got a family of raccoons in it. So anyway, we got to get out of here. But before we go, I want to, Jeff, we haven't done a head-to-head in a while. You want to do a head-to-head next week?
What do you want to do?
Well, I've been kind of jonesing to cook an apple pie.
Okay.
You want to do apple pie?
Yeah.
I haven't done one in such a long time.
Do we want to make this as a try head-to-head, and I'll make an apple pie?
Sure.
Go for it.
But that apple slicer I asked you about today, I need to find out if we've got one or not because I need it Monday.
Well, I told you I know that we've got one.
Okay.
We technically have two, and I'm pretty sure one is here and one is at school.
Okay.
I know one is at school for sure because I had an apple this week.
Because if I need to order one, I need to order it tomorrow.
Yeah. No, you don't need to order one.
I could slice them by hand, but I so like pushing that thing down over the top of the apples.
Yeah.
So we'll do apple pies then. I'll tell you up front, I'm not going to make my crust from scratch. So I thought about it, but I'm just not. I'm just going to buy pie crusts.
I'll make mine from scratch because I like to make
go
them from
ahead.
scratch.
That's fine. You gotta take pictures and document your process so I can bring them up here and we can show them.
Okay. The only thing is though, it won't be on a grill.
Well, that's fine. I'm gonna cook
Mine will
mine.
be baked in the oven, but yeah, I can do the process.
Jeff, I might just cook that on the Huntsman, and that's a cook that I would use lump charcoal for.
Yeah, you get a cleaner. The only thing
Right.
I'm concerned of on the Huntsman without having the heat deflector is
I can bake the coals on around the side because that pie pan's only 9 inches. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yep, we're gonna have to go all 360 around the grill.
Probably not. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
Or if it's even if it's an issue, I could cook it. I could just cook it on the Kamado Joe. I could cook it on my non-meat Kamado Joe. So I'll cook it on one or the other.
I'm leaning towards maybe throwing my pizza stone in the Huntsman.
Yeah. And cooking a pizza in it.
No, I'm not cooking the
Oh,
pizza,
for the
but
pie.
cooking the pie on top of the pizza stone.
Yeah. Well, you could do that.
Make sure the bottom doesn't get too brown.
Right. Okay, doke. So next week we'll have a 3-way competition, or not a competition, but a 3-way head-to-head on. We're gonna make apple pie.
Cool.
Sounds good. All right,
All right.
guys. I appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week.